Statewide Jural Assembly, my name is Charlie, and we're delighted to have every single one of you here. Thank you. I'm going to start with a rather lengthy little journey. So let's close our eyes and go on a little trip.
That's what I told him. I said, I don't want to refreeze my CO2 and lower my oxygen level. I could pass out on your store and you call 911. Then my lawyer will be in touch.
As Spirit, we've had many journeys with our beloved Creator. At some point along our way, we have discovered this journey. This round is one of good versus evil. Some say it is biblical, which is interpreted in various ways. To many, the stories seem far in the ancient past and irrelevant, even mythological, as if just made-up metaphors. But I dare say, this time loop we're in has us smack dab in the middle of confronting the very evil the Bible and other cultural tomes of the ages refer to. Right here in our cities, our neighborhoods, our TVs, and certainly in our politics. Pure evil doesn't exist. There's nothing pure in evil. It's just vile evil in its most insidious form that we're dealing with. So let's take this trip, this journey, the one that starts us at birth, when our light begins in this dimension of time and place. That is when we each manifest into this body we wear today. Thank you, Creator. Thank you for putting us here now. So we start out as light at the moment of conception. This is when we bring in our spirit, our light, our perfection, and our innocence, all divinely given. Imagine our shock and sadness when our spirit begins to realize what is stolen from us from the very day of our birth into this amazing world we call reality, but one we chose. And then, bit by bit, we immediately discover that we are signed over by our birth certificate to the ogres. I call them ogres. We know what ogres do. And as hard as it is to believe, our very own mother did it. She didn't know it because she was not only lied to, she was innocent and trusting. So suddenly here we are in this absurd reality of bright artificial lights, sharp noises, and startling edges, all the while knowing in our very spirit that we are from the perfect I am consciousness of our Creator, that we manifest into this reality with every cell of that creation as a collaboration of cells of perfection. We know this, and yet we soon discover that if not already tinkered with by the ogres preceding birth, from birth on our vehicle, our body is simply here to be used by others. Not by our mother or father, but others in any number of ways. Many far more unfortunate than us in truly insidious, vile, evil ways, beyond most of our abilities to even imagine. For decades upon decades, most if not all of you know what I'm talking about, and how very dark and deep it goes. Imagine our shock coming into this as innocent children who forgot our agreement and contract coming in. We don't seem to remember that our journey would be so challenging. No wonder we people get lost on our journey through life, not knowing our purpose, no roadmap, nor compass, not knowing who we are, what we stand for, a bundle of emotions and confusion about how to act, how to be, and what to do, how to fit in. So we comply. We feel shame. We submit. This uncertainty in our journey makes it perilous at the start because we have been betrayed on day one. Day one, when the ogres took us from our mother's water, from the birth canal to their birth on their admiralty ship, their ship of state, their citizenship, and bonded us as chattel on the stock market to be waged on, gambled and bet on, abused. We are livestock to the ogres, but actually we're dead to them. Dead livestock. Imagine that. It's an oxymoron. And they think we're morons. And if we doubt for a second that we are not, realize the ogres do what they can and will to destroy any scintilla of self-empowerment, or objection to their intentions about us and our subsequent programming and conformance. Sounds like a rather bleak journey, yeah? But now, if you haven't already, please open your eyes for the best part of the journey we're on. That journey, this embarkation begins anew once we shake off the initial shock and compliance and realize we can take command of our journey simply by remembering and knowing who we are. Then declare it. When we are no longer a shipment to be bartered and sold. When we're no longer enslaved to every citation, regulation, compliance, code, and rule. When we first realized we were treated and traded as chattel, and then we say no more. When our light comes into this vehicle and somewhere along our journey, we recognize and choose to listen to our spirit and our connection to our Creator. This becomes our driving force. Spirit stirring within us, unseen and voiceless. We are here now. We are fully present. We are your voice. We have heard our spirit as we become conscious and awake to the very reason we are here. We're here to make music and song with our voices, to run like the wind, to dance and move our bodies to the beat. We're here to create, to be awed and grateful for this endless abundance, the bounty and the beauty, and to lavish our relationships, to create and shower one another with caring, cooperation, compassion, camaraderie, and to love, Creator's greatest gift. Our body is here to enact our spirit, but by the decree of our Creator, not by a government. Unless we let it be so, it's our free will choice. God told me so. Our spirit knows all. Believe it or not, it has had countless journeys before this incarnation. And regardless whether you believe it or not, we're here now on this leg of our many journeys, standing on this ground with the great I Am presence of our Creator embodied in every single one of us. I am. When we recognize this, that powerful presence, and we are not apart from, but a part of that presence, it is the moment of our knowing. When we are asked, who is responsible for you? And we answer, I am. When we are asked, who is responsible for your thoughts? And we say, I am. Then we know, now we know, that that is the same I am presence. We are in charge, but not from the ego place, but from the I am place. I am. When on this journey we find words and symbols have new meaning, much more than we ever thought, until we pay attention. Paying attention is empowering. Take, for example, the word know, K-N-O-W. In the word know is the word know, N-O. When we know, there's a recognition that we can say no to all that we have innocently complied with and submitted to. Interestingly, also in the word no is the word now. So in our knowing, if not now, when? When do we act and stand tall and firm and destroy the darkness and corruption with our God-given light? If not we, the people, me, you, us, undivided, all power is inherent in the people, undivided. And speaking of knowing, I know God wins. I know the light and the love within us wins. I know that we are humankind, and through our consciousness, our compassion, our courage, and our Creator-gifted free will choice, we carry the light on this beautiful, bountiful, eternal journey called life. So thank you one and all again for being here on this wondrous journey with us, because we know every good thing is possible when in God we trust. Please sing with me. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain to the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. So it is. So what you've been hearing, and we'll play it again right now, is a portion of a speech by the 35th President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, for those of you who weren't alive at the time. President Kennedy served from 1961 until his life was taken by assassination in 1963, not even serving a full term. November, thank you, Ron. November 22nd, that's my anniversary. I chose it for that reason. Many of us alive at that time remember the shock of the moment and where we were standing when we learned of the shooting in Dallas, Texas. President John F. Kennedy was surrounded by men who betrayed him, but for those of us who were alive at the time of his presidency, he stood for honor. Honor. He had goals akin to ours today. He said, "Ask not what our country can do for us, but what we can do for our country." He represented the best of our ideals in a president. Please listen carefully to his words when he says, his message was lost on many of us, if not most, these 50 years. But for those of us paying attention, he nailed it. We're up against the same cabal and murderous corruption, which has now grown to intolerable proportions and has infiltrated every institution in our culture with its depravity. Please listen to his words and take heed, for he says is why we're all doing this.
The word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not abide with it. There is a grave danger that an announced need for insecurity will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. Today, no war has been declared, and however fierce the struggle may be, it may never be declared in the traditional fashion. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. The survival of our friends is in danger, and yet no war has been declared. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. No missiles have been fired. If the press is awaiting a declaration of war before it imposes the self-discipline of combat conditions, then I can only say that no war ever posed a greater threat to our security. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been more clear, and its presence has never been more imminent. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations.
Okay, this is Mark. He's on our action committee, and he's going to read the names of the people who we have noticed and for the reason we're here, which is all of the Oregon senators and all of the representatives from the House. So take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Charlie. Oregon senators. The list of them reads as follows as of May 2021, rather. May 2021. Make that clear. Senator Dick Anderson. Senator Lee Beyer. Senator Brian Boquist. Senator Guinea Burdick. Speaker of the Senate Peter Courtney. Senator Michael Dembro. Senator Lynn Findley. Senator Lou Frederick. Senator Sarah Geiser. Senator Fred Jural. Senator Jeff Golden. Senator Chris Gorsuch. Senator Bill Hansel. Senator Dallas Herod. Senator Casey Jama. Senator Betsy Johnson. Senator Bill Kennemeyer, or rather Kennemer. Kennemer. Senator Tim Knott. Senator Kate Lieber. Senator Dennis Lithicum. Senator James Manning Jr. Senator Deborah Patterson. Senator Floyd Prozansky. Senator Chuck Riley. Senator Elizabeth Steiner Hayward. Senator Kathleen Taylor. Senator Kim Thatcher. Senator Chuck Thompson. Senator Rob Wagner, and if we've left anybody out, et alia. Oregon House of Representatives as of May 2021. Teresa Alonzo Leon. Daniel Bonham. Shelley Blosshart Davis. Vicki Brees Iverson. Janelle Bynum. Winsby Campos. Jamie Kate. Brian Clem. Christine Drazan. Paul Evans. Julie Fahey. David Domberg. Dacia Graber. Cedric Hayden. Ken Helm. Paul Holvey. Zach Hudson. Tina Kotek, Speaker of the House. Tina Kotek. Jason Kropf. Gary Leaf. Bobby Levy. Rick Lewis. John Lively. Pam Marsh. Susan McLean. Mark W. Meek. Raquel Moore Green. Lily Morgan. Nancy Mathanson. Mike Neerman. Courtney Neron. Ron Nova. Rob Nose. Mark Owens. Con Pham. Bill Post. I may have mispronounced K-H-A-N-H. Pham. Bill Post. Terry A. Power. Michael Prusak. Dan Rayfield. Jeff Reardon. E. Werner Reschke. Lisa Reynolds. Ricky Ruiz. Andrea Salinas. Tana D. Sanchez. Shen Shelton. Greg Smith. Barbara Smith Warner. David Brock Smith. Janine Solomon. Dwayne Stark. Kim Wallen. Suzanne Weber. Marty Wild. Anna Williams. Brad Witt. Boomer Wright. Jack Zika. And if I've left anyone out, at Alia. That's it.
Okay, so now we're going to hand the mic to each one of the jurors so that they can say if they're guilty or not guilty and what they're guilty of.
Guilty, violating their oath.
Guilty, violating their oath.
Guilty, violating their oath.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty of violating their oath.
Definitely guilty.
Absolutely guilty of violating their oath.
Guilty, violating their oath.
Violating their oath.
Guilty of violating their oath.
Their oath has been violated and they have no honor.
Cheryl Rutherford, I find them guilty, violating their oath, and have no honor.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty, dishonor, and violating their oath.
Of violating their oath.
Guilty of violating their oath.
Guilty of violating their oath without honor.
Guilty of violating their oath, violating the Constitution, and being unresponsive to the public.
Not being paid to say that, but you just don't like it is.
Guilty. Guilty of violating their oath, violating our constitutional rights, and they have no honor.
Guilty of violating their oath.
Guilty.
Guilty of violating their oath without honor.
Guilty.
I find them guilty of violating their oath.
Guilty of violating their oath.
They're all guilty of violating their oath with no honor.
Guilty as charged.
Okay, it seems like everybody agrees they're guilty.
Sheila.
The specific charges were Article 4, Section 14. They violated their oath. They've been found guilty. They cannot hold a position of trust. Using 18 U.S.C. 3571 as a guide, the Department of Administrative Services Risk Management, EGS, has shown to be the bonding insurance entity for these 90 persons above, is ordered to pay remunerations to each member of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly in the amount of $250,000. That's a due process violation by each of the 90 persons insured above, or $22,500,000 to each member of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, members to be authenticated from the records of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly status forms. Each guilty party is personally responsible to pay the penalty should the DAS risk management not indemnify them. Additionally, as they have found to be without honor, they cannot hold a position of trust and are not to receive further remunerations and are considered to be unemployable. They must vacate their elected office immediately. Additionally, as they have found to be without honor, they cannot hold a position of trust and are not considered bondable and insurable. They must vacate their elected office immediately. Additionally, the penalty for insertion of Article 7 amended is to be determined at a future date. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal, and notice to the principal is notice to the agent. The jury in our 7 common law court of records so declares. The guilty verdict was given to the clerk of this court by the foreperson May 8, 2021.
While we're
Okay, so I'm gonna
signing,
have everybody come up and sign
I
these that
thought
are
that it would be
adjourned.
important
First,
for you
we're
all
going
to know,
Ron
if
and
you
I are
haven't
gonna sign
already,
the originals.
that we already have done a trial for our Governor Brown, Governor Kate Brown. We have found her guilty. We have done a trial that included also Senator Ron White. Guilty. We've also held that same trial for Senator Jeff Merkley. We found him guilty. And also for Representative Suzanne Bonamici, who's from our district where we have been really involved with our court where it originated, in the Beaverton area. We found them all guilty, and the laws that they are signing don't matter to us, the people. They don't hold in our de jure common law system. That is a commercial admiralty ship system. It's a de facto. We are de jure. We are the people. All power is inherent in the people, and we do not belong as a citizenship to the corporate entity known as our United States government, in all caps, corporation. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jural. I want to read you a summary. I want to read you a summary of the actions that I have been doing, or some of the actions that I have been doing, amongst talking to people or secretaries and four-star generals and admiralties. I have also been trying to reach our Attorney General. So here I go. My name is Jural. I am on the Action Committee as Deputy Clerk for Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. In following up on our trial and subsequent to the convictions on Governor Kate Brown, Senators Ron Wyden, Jeff Merkley, and Representative Susan Bonamici, This is an example of our approach from the de jure to the de facto. I called Ellen's office again on May 6, 2021, and her receptionist refused to give me her name and phone number 503-378-6002, timestamp 2:30 p.m. She seems to be withholding information and talked in circles until I said, "Are you refusing due process?" She immediately said no. She wasn't, and she transferred me immediately to the trial division. When I asked her name at the trial division, the person there initially refused to give me her name. I said, again, "Are you denying me due process in getting this docket completed and prosecuted?" She said, "No, ma'am, I'm not." Then I asked her name so that I could follow up with a phone call later. And she told me her first name, Tracy. Tracy then looked up docket number in the system and could not find it. She said there was nothing she could do unless an official court docket was made. I told Tracy this is an official court docket, docket number 03092021A. It is from a civilian court of record. Therefore, the docket numbers will be different than her corporation numbers. But that her job is the same regardless. I said for the record, that I must inform you that Accardi doctrine states that an agency must abide by its own regulations. Therefore, I am asking you to do your job. Find the docket, find the record. I will need the name of the prosecuting attorney and other information involved. as well as the contact information. She then asked me if I was sent to the Department of Justice if I had sent the docket to the Department of Justice by certified mail. I said yes. It went through Universal Postal Union and was rubber stamped accordingly. I also told her that for the record, we have done our job on our side. I then called Ellen Rosenblum's office. Her secretary had told me prior, the Department of Justice at 503-947-4700. There I had talked to a Francine at 503-430-2021. Then I called again because Francine told me she would get back to me at 10:45 on May 5th, 2021. I then talked to a Jessica who refused to give me her last name, who told me nothing was showing up, and to call Ellen's office and find out what was going on. And that was the next day when I had called Ellen's office again, and she sent me to the trial division again. At this point, I said, "We have done our job. Now it is time for you to do your job. Do not deny us due process." Now these are the facts. And this was what was printed out and grammatical errors corrected. But I wanted to say a little tidbit to you, that we are all born sovereign men and women on this land. There is no denying that. You are all sovereign men and women of this land. You are like nobility. The power is yours. We allow these people to represent us. Are they doing their job?
No.
That's right. So what must we do? We must assemble. We must take back our power, for the power is ours to take back. No more will we allow corruption in our beautiful state while they burn us down and cause terror nightly up in Portland, destroying Portland. Have any of you went by Portland, the most beautiful state to live? No more. It's gone. We are turning into a third world country unless we stop it here and now. Bring your friends, bring your family. Let's get them out. I do my job. And so it is.
They don't want to. They like both of them. Not only does, but the sheriff's
You've all been witness to the culmination of 2.5 years of relentless research and the valiant efforts of the people of our common law court of record. Without appeal, as in Amendment 7, Article 3, a Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction. While all but forgotten, the powers of the people's grand jury has jurisdiction in all law forms and supersedes all other governing entities, including the statutorily defined grand jury. Our court's process has involved the recording of our acts and judicial proceedings as relevant and transparent to all named, and far beyond the scope of today's observation. The mentioned persons in this proceeding were noticed a total of 3 or more times, with each notice providing 3 times, 7, 14, 21, and then 30 days to deny our claims, thus their acquiescence. That includes all of the Oregon Senators and all of the Oregon House of Representatives. None of our claims responded to nor denied over the course of now over 60 days. Through the numerous steps of our lawful process and following our state of Oregon and the United States Constitution in addressing our grievances, we find each and all 90 so-named legislators guilty as charged. Now the penalty, using their own United States Commercial Code from their de facto law form 18 U.S.C. 3571 as a guide, the Department of Administration Services, the Risk Management, EGS, and others unknown as shown to be their bonding insurance entity, is ordered by this Court of Record to pay remuneration to each member of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly in the amount of $250,000 by each of the 90 insured referred to, or $1 million to each member of our OSJA as authenticated by their status forms. Each guilty party will be personally liable and responsible to pay the penalty should DAS Risk Management or others not. These amounts were set by their own commercial code. Additionally, as they've been found to be without honor, they cannot hold a position of trust and are not considered bondable and insurable. They must vacate their office immediately. We will be providing this information to our Oregon Treasurer, Tobias Reed, as well. Should he or responsible others or DAS ignore our verdicts, we will add them to our growing list of noticed individuals, each notice bearing significant fiscal compensations to be paid by the people by these government employees. And I will close with a quote by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. "Silence, face of evil, is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak, speak. Not to act is to act." Cynthia?
And before we finish up here, I would like to read Psalms 1 from the Passion Translation. "What delight comes to the one who follows God's ways. He won't walk in step with the wicked, nor share the sinner's way, nor be found sitting in the scorner's tent. His passion is to remain true to the word of I am, meditating day and night on the true revelation of light. He will be standing firm like a flourishing tree, planted by God's design, deeply rooted by the brooks of bliss, bearing fruit in every season of life. He is never dry, never fainting, ever blessed, ever prosperous. But how different are the wicked? They are like chaff blown away by the wind. The wicked will not endure the day of judgment, for God will not defend them. Nothing they do will succeed or endure for long, for they have no part with those who walk in truth. But how different is it for the righteous? The Lord embraces their paths as they move forward, while the way of the wicked leads only to doom."
So I'd like to remind everybody that our freedom starts exactly where we're standing, and as we assemble, our freedom expands out from there. We have assembled here today per the Constitution of the United States of America, and Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution. That's where our power comes from. Well, it comes from God. They pointed out in the Constitution for us. We've notified everybody. FBI, CIA, everybody's been notified. Do nothing in secret. For you heard the JFK recording. We don't like secret society. We're not being secret at all. We don't worry about VPNs or anything like that. They are watching us. We know it. We're talking to them. We have not had, we confirm the acquiescence to these people. They acquiesce on everything that we say. We formed the civilian court here per the Constitution. Our civilian court here activates ex parte Milligan, which notified martial law on the state of Oregon here. I wish the other states would follow suit. This is a Article 3 Amendment 7 court. We have a verdict without appeal now. You've all signed it all today. Now we are going to get our remedy. I thank everybody for showing up. I want everybody that has not signed up for a jury, please come do that today. We need more. The job is not done. It's a very big job. Thank you again.
I just want to take about 90 seconds, maybe 120, and
teach you a simple spiritual song, non-denominational, all-inclusive. Does say the big G word. And it goes like this. The first time, please just listen, or unless you're really quick and you can figure it out, or you might already know this. It's called You Are the Face of God, really simple, and written by Karen Drucker. And it goes like this. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. This is especially for our maskless. You are a part of me, which is all of us. You are the face of God. That's the whole thing in its entirety. So if we're going to do it twice more so that we kind of master it by the end. So here you go when you're ready. You are the face of God. Sorry if that's not right for the men. You are a part. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. Always teachable. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. All together. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. Hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Please remember that, because I know it gets stressful and I know it gets hard, and you're on.
Remember that we are all children of God, and we'll just keep showing up with our beautiful faces.
We are God's children. Thank you. I'm Mark Bates. Charlie. Okay, this is a poem, but I want to let you know that Charlie did a reading of one of my poems. It's online if you look up Dear Mr. President, President Donald John Trump. You'll hear Charlie read that poem. So this poem is called Freedom is Not Free. Freedom is not free, that much is for sure. Especially when your neighbors are the Nazis next door. The long road to freedom is paid for in blood. So if you want security, you've got a brain full of crud. You ought to know by now that mere words can deceive. If you're not discerning, your senses will take leave. When you're hard-pressed and not at your best, that is when your mettle will be put to the test. There are no guarantees when the jackbooted thugs with their brains full of bugs come looking for you. They're not looking for wet kisses and hugs. Even many of those claiming to be friends will turn in the end when they see the Nazi, can I use a foul word? The children here, Nazi, B-A-S-T-A-R, you got the rest of it, are not playing pretend. They'll turn like cowards thinking they're safe. Backstab you, then hold out their hand hoping that payment was part of the plan. Don't be surprised when you realize their words of bravado were nothing but lies, now as in veil as their disguise. You'll sweat and you'll toil, covered in dirt and grunge, a rifle in one hand, a knife in the other. You'll learn through the contest of struggle who's your brothers and sisters, who's got your six in the streets and your six in the sticks, who's quick and mean like a wolverine, who's there in a minute on the scene, who's brave in battle with nary a boast, who's quiet and stealthy like a shadowy ghost, who knows freedom is not free. That much is for sure. Thank you. Just before Charlie says goodbye to us all, I seek inspiration wherever I find it, and I have found massive inspiration in the Oregon Grand Jural Assembly and the people that are like pillars to me. Even though I've accomplished something in my life that I think is significant, I look at these people and I'm just humble.
Thank you, Mark. I want to thank some of you come and sign up. And then there's another wave of you who've signed up who come and serve on the jury, and there's another wave of you who sign up. And then you bring your friends, and they come to sign up, and then they can join our jury. And it goes on, and we have momentum. Momentum is a great word if you say it over and over and over and over. We are building, we the people undivided, on Oregon. We have created a template that took us 2.5 years, but the template can be used in every state in our country. If you know someone in another state, tell them about us. Tell them to call us and find out, or go online and look at our YouTube presence and see how they can build their statewide Oregon or Utah or Colorado or Wyoming or Texas. It doesn't matter. Every state in our union can do this. The people. All power is inherent in the people. And in a month, they can do this too. Thank you so much.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying, and then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.